If you guys like this video, get it to 500 likes. I will do all of this again for the shrines in Breath of the Wild. And that'll be really weird for me because
What the hell? Nieces, nephews, everything in between and or otherwise. Welcome back. Y'all knocked that out of the park in like 2 days. So here we are. In this video, we're going to be looking at the shrines in Breath of the Wild in a whole new light. We'll be judging them not as good puzzles, but as good homes. Same as the last video, which you should definitely watch if you haven't seen. There will be some rules, regulations, parameters, and all that. Number one is that you will be a regular human without access to any of Link's runes. No bombs, no magnesis, no stasis, no cryonis. Though I will recycle a joke from my last video and let you keep the camera. Thankfully though, the runes of Breath of the Wild are not quite as integral to solving many of the puzzles as Tears of the Kingdom's abilities were. And slightly less important is you will not have access to the paraglider. Both of these points are for figuring out which of these shrines would be most accessible for a regular person. A shrine can have a whole lot to it, but if part of them are only accessible by using runes or gliding, then they will only be judged by the parts that we can access, however minor those inaccessibilities may be, which can really hurt or help depending on the shrine. Our next and largest concern is safety. Now, while our mover/exterminator Link will handle most of your unwanted roommates, there isn't much he can do about the bottomless pits and giant chasms of lava. The most we could do with those is advise you to either be very careful or not live there at all. And for these shrines, we'll be doing our best to get rid of any previous furniture, so you can bring in any of your own stuff. If it isn't nailed down, it's getting thrown out. Though this was a bit harder to do without the Ultra Hand ability. So if you see some objects around that we weren't able to hide, please do try to use your imagination and pretend that they aren't there, because ideally, they wouldn't be. Also, shrines will usually be fully solved unless the full solution makes them more dangerous or less accessible. Then, we play it by ear. This was also a factor in the Tears of the Kingdom video, but I just forgot to mention it. And our very last concern will not be overworld location. These were hard enough to rank just off the inside, and I'm lazy. Maybe for 100,000 subscriber special, I might consider doing that. Though that would be a really boring way to celebrate a huge milestone like that. So if we ever make it that far, hopefully you guys can come up with some more interesting ideas for a video. That being said, subscribe! I'd love to hit 5,000 subs by the time I post my next video. More on that later. But as for now, no way. Some of these suck on the outside, and that is not my problem.
You don't do it right.
And one very last thing. These are super weird to rank in this way, so please do bear with me on some of these choices. Now, let's talk about the worst shrine to live in Breath of the Wild. Number 120, Shora Ha. This one is arguably more dangerous than its Tears of the Kingdom counterpart, but inarguably hotter. If you remember from the last video, the shrines with lava were all ranked towards the bottom, for good reason. The human body cannot take the extreme levels of heat that lava produces, especially not this much lava. Plus there isn't any kind of ventilation in these shrines, so you'd basically be sleeping in a crock pot. Double plus, there's hardly any room in here, and they have these spikes that you could hurt yourself on. Definitely the worst. Number 119, Moa Keet. This one is slightly better, because that's kind of how this works. Off the bat, we have much more space and no immediate threats like the spikes. Still a ton of lava though, but we do have a bit more security with these rails. The end room is even fully surrounded, making it the safest place to be, though it is the most dangerous place to get to, so do be careful. Number 118, Maka Ra. Now yes, there are spikes and even lava, but you are able to get past them. And the whole rest of the shrine is fully accessible, which is a good thing. They even have water here, and some more lava, and the spike wall that I couldn't hide anywhere else. Though if I were living here, I'd never go past the spinning spike thing and enjoy the safety of the walled off entrance. And since I mentioned the water, I'll talk about water. In my last video, I got a lot of comments calling me out on not prioritizing food and water. Mostly water. By the way, none of these shrines have food in them. Someone even pointed out that only one of my top 10 had water. And that's partially my fault for not explaining myself correctly. The way I see it, water is a damn good thing to have in your home, and it'll often rank higher than other shrines that don't have it. But I want you to keep in mind, we're not trying to survive here, we're just living here. You can go buy water for your home if you want it, but at the end of the day, if a lame shrine has water and a dope shrine doesn't, The dope one is getting ranked higher. If you guys want though, I can rank them by survivability right now. Number 120, the worst shrine. All of them, none of them have food, you can't survive in any of them. Number 117, Ri Dahi. This one sucks. There's no space, there's bottomless pits, and you have to ride these platforms to get around. But with these platforms, the whole place is fully accessible. And there's no lava to worry about, so automatically this goes higher. Number 116, Mog Latin. There is less space on the starting platform here, and you can't go to the other ones, but I see not having to ride a tiny platform over a bottomless pit as better than getting a big foyer. Number 115, Sheem Dagos. Now I know I just said all that, and now I'm showing this as being better, but here you get a ton of room and immediate access to the end room with some fences for extra safety. Plus you can ride this thing down if you have the patience. Number 114, Shawarvo. You get a lot of space and there's no danger of the floating platforms, and you get air conditioning. Not much to say. Number 113, Katosa Og. Well, the danger platforms are back, but can you blame me? Look at all this space. And in the back there, they even have full-length fences for just that little bit of safety. Ranking these are not easy. Number 112, Totosa. Space, space, space. Too much? Maybe. Too narrow? Yep. And you should definitely watch your step right there. The end room is totally safe though, with walls and fences. And you even get a pretty nice view. Number 121, Kam Urag. This is a fun one because it is fully accessible and relatively safe. Just really annoying. You have to work with the whole room spinning, and you gotta time your jumps and stuff to make it up. The end room is kind of safe though. With 3 of the 4 walls having fences, there just isn't a lot of room. Also watch out for those lasers. Number 110, Oa Dame. And now we get to our first tutorial shrine. The stasis one to be exact. But with no Sheikah Slate, we don't get to see much of it. But we do get this square, and it's a solid amount of space. Enough to not really have to worry about falling in. Now if you're saying this isn't really that much space, then I'd tell you that if you went to New York and found this amount of space in an apartment, they'd charge you $1,500 a month and stick you with a roommate. Number 109, Z Kasho. This is basically a better version of the last one. Again, that's kind of what we're doing here. With about 3.5 walls for safety, and you get about the same amount of space for less danger. Now you can go further past this platform over a pit, but be careful not to slip and fall off or onto those spikes. Once past them, you have this little hallway and then a laser room. Now honestly, these lasers don't pack so much of a punch, but they do have a good bit of knockback, so you could get thrown into the pit if you're not being safe. So, like I said, just stay by the entrance. Number 108, Keirama. Again, similar room, maybe even a bit more space, but you have to work even harder to die here. You have to go up these flight of stairs, and then to your left or right, there are pits. Really out of the way. Unless, of course, you want to go up to the end room. Then you have to do some calf blasts and hike your way up. Though granted, there is a ton of space up there. Getting down, though, would be even harder. But not for me! Whee! Number 107, Mayum Agana. Lots of room here, and the end room is totally safe. Plus, you even got some gates on the sides of this walkway thing. Number 106, Dakota. Minor danger on this one. You've got this little bridge to worry about and then an exposed pit on the other side. But between them, you've got a totally secure corner room place. Number 105, Daka Ko. This one is almost totes safe. Because remember, that block that could potentially crush you would not be there when you move in. We just don't have a way to hide it for the purpose of this video. But even still, with the floor jumping up like that, if you fell in, you would get launched crazy high up and probably die. So, good, but definitely not great. Number 104, G No. Ton of space, enough that you'd never have to worry about falling into these pits. And when you get to this conveyor belt part, you have to be trying to run into these lasers to get hit, because the belt is moving in the opposite direction. Pretty solid pick. Number 103, Dunba Tag. This shrine is like the older brother to the last one. Better in just about every way. Much safer with walls and gates all over, and 2 rooms that are 100% safe. You could easily have like 3 people living here comfortably. Number 102, Bosch Kala. Lots of space here, real comfortable, and even a second floor, kind of. And you even have some air conditioning too. Just stay away from the edge. Number 101, Zalta Wa. You might not even notice it at first, but there is a pit in this one. but the rest is so nice that I don't really mind. I mean, you can see it, right? It's downright cozy. Number 100, Cam Yatak. This is one of my total favorites. You get a whole mansion, so much space, and even water. It's not running, but I'd still drink it. I like to think that all the shrines have clean water, whether or not it's running. Ideally, we'd have this big ball removed and these spike balls, but, you know. They do have a few small pits right in the entrance here, so watch your step. All this space, a few pits over here and here, but, you know, be careful to avoid them. Alright now, this next batch is going to be made up of shrines that wouldn't quite work as well as homes, but could be used for communities. I like to call them activity centers. I'll pitch my own ideas for what these could be used for, but the fun part is coming up with your own ideas for them. Starting with number 99, Shivanir, and also 98, Shivanath. I'm talking about both of them here because they're the exact same thing, except they got Twilight Princess for the weed. They're mirrored. They're just, like, mirrored. There's plenty of space in both of these, and even an elevator, which is the only thing it really has going for it in my opinion. In the last video, we had some shrines like this one, with these divots in the floor for puzzle balls, and someone said that they could be used as conversation pits, and I do agree. Throw a little table in the middle of those, and you could have yourself a below average restaurant. Number 97, Vu Lada. This is a fun one. If you take a short trip up this ladder, you'll find a hallway. Walk down to the end and the gate will close behind you. Hit the switch and it'll be dropped into lava. How can this be used for a community? Well, my idea is that people can bring their trash here, throw it past the sensor to bring the gate down, and then hit the switch with the long stick, and the floor will drop, getting rid of your trash. But that is kind of dumb. You'd have to bring your trash all the way from wherever you live, lug it up this Metal Gear ladder. It's all just kind of convoluted, and if you try to stick the thing through the gate will come up and it'll break the stick. It's honestly not a great idea. I guess they could use it as like an execution chamber and really mess with the person they're executing. Drag them up the ladder, throw them past the sensor, and make them hit the switch on themselves. Yeah, it's kind of evil, but I'm just spitballing here. Under the Well wasn't a whole lot nicer. Number 96, Ha to Hammer. Now we've got our first water one. Not too much to it. It's pretty much just a waterfall and a little pool. I think this would be great for all the people living in the shrines that don't have running water in them. They could come here and get as much water as they like, and they can even use the waterfall as a shower, or the pool around it as a little bath. Number 95, Niez Yoma. This one ups the danger a bit with having the pit be even easier to fall into. But we do get a ton more water. You can go up to the top if you want to, but there isn't really anything up there that you can't get at the bottom. Plus there's a laser that you might get hurt on if you try to go past it. My idea for this one is that it could be a good place for people to go to wash their clothes. Like how people in real life use a river to wash their clothes. They even have grates at the bottom so that your clothes won't fall through. Number 94, Miro Shaz. I'll be honest, I don't really like this one at all, but it's a pretty good space. In the first area, you've got what I think would work well as an office space. And then up this ramp, which is just above some water, you get the end room. And then past that, we get another elevator, which brings us down to a smaller area, which could just be used as storage or something. Honestly, if nothing else, every single one of these shrines could be great as storage units. The worst part about this shrine, in my opinion, is that first elevator. It is so slow and it takes so long to go up and down. Number 93, Kaya Wan. This is just a fun little pool, and sometimes that's all you need. Though the water does have a current, so it's more like a small river. Could be good for swimming, or more useful for water. Number 92, Rucko Mag. Ignore that little wood there, I was trying to figure something out. But this is a solid pool house. Nice big pool with plenty of space on any of the sides. One of them even have enough space that you could have some vendors set up there. You can mess around with that switch there and make the water pour out in different spots if you want. And the end room could be worked into a changing room or something. Number 91, Dao Nae. A nice big old pool. If you want this door to stay open, you gotta keep this stay there switch held down. But I would do it anyway, just to have this little island to jump off of. You can ride this elevator up, and then this cube you can jump on to get onto the higher platform. And then once you're up there, you can use it for diving or something. But be careful not to slip. It might be more smart to just have a lifeguard be up there. Number 90, Sharata. And now our biggest pool. And you can also drain it if you feel like just waiting around. The only thing you really need to worry about is being tall when the laser swings by. But even still, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Probably just the equivalent of like getting punched. Number 89 through 87, the wet tests. Alright, so this is the first of the 3 different types of the test of strength shrines. That is so hard to say. We will get to the other 2 types soon enough, but all the test shrines are the same size with very minor differences. And the main difference with this one is the wet floor. It's got a pretty thin layer of water over almost all of the floor except for this little area in the middle. I was thinking this could be a fun place to set up like a slipping slide or something. I don't know. Not all ideas are going to be very good. Number 86, Jolu Na. I genuinely cannot think of a unique use for this shrine. You get a ton of space and some fans that hopefully one of you will be able to think of a use for, but I got nothing. Number 85, Wago Kata. Yeah, you get plenty of space, sure, that's a given, but while I was getting footage for the shrine, I realized that you could easily ascend up to that end room. And then I thought about how many Breath of the Wild shrines I could solve with Tears of the Kingdom's abilities. And then I realized that could be a fun video. Would y'all be interested in that? Let me know in the comments below. That rhymed. Number 84, To Yasa. Another big space. I like this little alcove by the entrance and this big space in the back here. Though you can't get to the end room, but that's not really a big deal. Number 83, Kao Maka. This one I think would work great as an office space. Specifically, the spot off to the left would be nice for like the boss. And then you could go through, throw some desks down around these corners, little printer, copy machine, you know, simple stuff. Number 82, Ja Baj. And now we've got ourselves our second tutorial shrine, the bomb one. And I think this one would be another good office space. You could have the receptionist desk right here. And right past this platform could be the break area. Down the stairs is where the employees would do their work. And then up at the end room I think would be a nice spot for the boss's office. The worst part would really just be the noise that these pistons are making every couple seconds. Number 81 through 65, standard tests and metal floor tests. Big jump there because the rest of these are the test shrines. And I just picked 2 of the shrines to represent both of the types. I don't think either is better than the other. Some of these are just big empty rooms, and some of them have metal on the floor. Take your pick.
Hey guys, it's Editing Lloyd, and I forgot to mention what my idea for these shrines were. I think they'd be good as convention centers, like a Comic-Con thing, or a RetroCon, like I'm about to talk about. That's what I meant. Places where people can come to do nerd stuff. Okay, thanks, bye. It's a good shrine, bye.
Me and Jeb, we once went to one, and it was just in this like elementary school's gymnasium, and we had plenty of space and it was plenty of fun. Number 64, Telo Neg. I think the only difference between this one shrine and the test shrines is that it doesn't have this foyer. Otherwise, they're the exact same. It goes a little higher because it is consistent and singular. Number 63, Kyo Rug. This is the last activity center, and thus my very favorite one. We do have some more conversation pits in the first room, but I think the second room is really where the fun is at. I think this big area would work great as a bazaar, with plenty of space for many different shops and vendors along these walls and off of them too. It reminds me a lot of the castle town from Ocarina of Time. I can kind of like imagine a mom being like, oh, I'm going to the market, be back later, and coming down here and there's music playing and people are talking and having fun and stuff. Real nice like communal things. And if I have the drawings, I'll put them up here to show kind of what I was thinking. Alright, now we're going to be moving into the actual homes. Places you can really live that are either 100% safe or damn near close. These bottom few kind of suck though, so bear with me. Number 62, K No. Pretty nice one here, lots of space and even hallways, which is surprisingly nice. Most of this electric stuff can't hurt you, except for these pools at the very end, which you should try to avoid. Also, leave those balls by the front door, otherwise the door will close. Again, not a bad choice of residency. Number 61, Hawakoth. This is basically the Chad version of the last one. You get a ton more space, running water, an elevator, and a pool. But you just gotta watch out for a little bit of exposed wiring. When I was a kid, I used to have this friend, and one time we were hanging out and I pulled this electric pin prank on him. And he said that he liked how it felt, so he would just hold it down, just shocking himself because he liked it. I wonder what he's doing now. Number 60, Hyla Rao. I mean, you can see it. You've got some space, totally safe, bar, plenty of water. Not much to say here. I'd put my bed right there. Number 59, Shoda Sa. More space and more water. Also, it's nice that they have these fences, just in case you were clumsy. Number 58 through 29, the blessings. Yeah, they've got a lot of blessings, and the only difference is that some of them have metal chests and others have, I don't know, like stone chests. It's all the same for us though, the chest would be ideally removed regardless. Speaking of blessings, I want to give a quick shout out to Bowser the Flaming Shell for correctly deducing that the blessing shrine I used in my last video, you should check that out if you haven't seen it, was the Usa Zoom shrine. Congratulations, I love you. And a lesser shout out is going to go to Jeremy Man 6229 who guessed that all of the blessing shrines, thus making him technically correct. I love you as well, but certainly less. And if you want me to love you, then make sure you subscribe and consider liking the video. And if you want a shout out in the next video, try to guess what blessing shrine I used for this video. And now on to number 28, Akvakot. Yes, this one has a ton of space, and it also has some water in the back. But yes, there are a ton of fans in here, and they're loud, and I think noise pollution is a real concern too. Imagine having these fans constantly going off by your bedroom. It will make you insane. So that's why it is this low. Number 27, Rin Oh Yeah. More fans, but there are less fans, so it's less annoying, so it's more good. Thus it ranks higher. Also, while getting footage, I could not get the climb down prompt to appear. It was really weird. Number 26, Shada Na. Same reasoning on this one. It's a bit better because you don't have to deal with the ladder. Number 25, Ya Rin. A bit less space, but it sure is nice and quiet. Number 24, Shai Uto. Bit more space. Number 23, Ke Namut. Our third tutorial shrine, and you get a bit more space, but without Cryonis, you just get a little pool with a nice view of the rest of the shrine. Number 22, Ka Okio. More space, and that is all. Number 21, Rotsa-U. This one's pretty ugly, yeah, but it's a bit more space and it's got some water. Just watch out for that thing. Number 20, Ya Naga. I don't know why, but I really like this one. With the stairs and the light pole, it makes for a nice feel. And it's got a good bit of space. Also, this is a great example of vibes winning out over water, like in the last shrine. Number 19, Kema Zeus. First of all, this one could have been in an activity center, but I felt like I already had a lot of those for this video. Second, this one ranked higher before I realized that this gate doesn't stay open. This green thing is a battery that slowly depletes over time, and I do mean slowly. So slow that it doesn't even make sense. There's two puzzles here, and you can get through them super quick. The only reason I even noticed was because I was specifically staying to get footage. It could have just been a switch at that point. But yeah, just leave the ball by the thing if you really want the door to stay open. Number 18, Kwa Ram. This one really is just a vibe, man. I'm not sure how to explain it. I like the torches, or whatever you would call these. They have these big scales that I tried to childproof to keep someone from going up into the spikes. But I realized that you could get the scales to move in the opposite direction, and then get up there and hurt yourself. So I tried to get footage of that, but then I realized that even once it comes all the way down, there wouldn't be a way for you to get yourself up there to get hurt. So I just gave up. Also, I think you could use the scale as an overly large table. Number 17, Ishito Sa. I like this platform here, and that you can hit the switch to move the pillars up and down, even though I didn't get footage of this. Unless I did. And this beam emitter here. Did you know that there were beam emitters in Breath of the Wild? Would be removed, so it's not really an issue. Number 16, Manya Toma. This is another one that probably should have been an activity center, but I like the end room. Make it into a restaurant. They could serve rock roast, I don't know. Number 15, Mezza Low. The corners of this one would make for good rooms. Bedroom, kitchen, living room. Though there is this laser up in the corner, so just make sure to keep something there to block it. Number 14, Omano. This is our last tutorial shrine, and it is the Magnesis one. And it's a damn good one too. I mean, it is at 14. Plenty of room in just the first area, and then running water down this little sewer area. Ignore that block, and then look at the plenty of space above deck. And even some water for you to wade in below. Now, you can make it to this first little island with a jump, but even with a run and jump, you can't make it to the last place. So I just left the door closed. Number 13, Sha Gima. I like the verticality of this one. Once you get all your stuff moved in, it'll be fun to go to the top and then look down on all your stuff. Number 12, Shea Loya. If it weren't for the piston, this would probably be one of my personal favorites. But alas, it is just a pretty good place to crash. I'd set up my kitchen over here. Number 11, Ka Mael. This one is pretty similar to the scale one from before with the spikes, but I like it a bit more because there are no spikes. No worries, no stress, exactly as a home should be. Alright, nieces, nephews, everything in between and or otherwise. This is the top 10. The cream de la crop, the best of the best. Let's do it. Number 10, Barita Nag. I am a big fan of this one. First of all, with these fences, this place is totally safe. And you can even use the pit as a trash can. You even get 3 distinct rooms here, the middle one being the end room, which reminds me a lot of the tier shrine Mayanis, which I also really liked. Also, the cannons could make for good conversation starters. Number 9, Dako Chisei. This one also reminds me of another tier shrine, Siwakama, or the roommate shrine as I like to think of it, where you basically get 2 little apartments on either side with some minor differences. And if you wanted, you could set up the end room to be sort of a living room. Though do be careful not to place anything metal on these nodes on the floor because they do conduct electricity. Number 8, Kaya. I feel like the more walls, nooks, and crannies a shrine has, the more homely they'll feel. And this shrine has crannies aplenty. It even has sort of hallways, which you know I love. And one of these floating platforms is only kind of useful. It can get you to this little area in the back, which could be good for storage, I guess. Number 7, Sho Dansu. Ooh man, look at this nice big entry hallway, and it is large enough that you could use it as a dining room or a living room. And to the left we have this nice separate room, but it does have this automatic piston, so... But to the right, that problem is solved if the piston needed to be activated by a switch, which could have its uses. And finally, the main room has a ton of space for you to do whatever you like with, really. Go crazy. Number 6, Dakatus. This one is, of course, even better, with more fully separated rooms and even some different elevations. And if you don't want to live in this one, it could be fun to turn it into a gym or something. I just hope that no one will be too sore after a workout and fall off his ladder. Number 5, Tamul. Alright, this is where the shrines start to get real homely and cozy. And coincidentally, a lot of them also just happen to have these leaves in them, which I decided to leave because I felt like they broke up the blues and black color scheme of the shrines. But yeah, this one is kind of small, so it would work nice for just a one-person place or whatever. And also, I really like the torches, which I think would probably get removed, but it's fine. It's a nice place regardless. Number 4, Jihara. Now this one gives you 3 main rooms, each of which has a concrete ball holding a switch. Now these balls aren't needed to keep the gates open, but they would have been a lot harder to hide, so I decided to just put them on display while I'm showing the place off. But yeah, I like the openness of this one, especially these lights by the end room. So here it is at number 4. And our bronze medal is going to go to Rock Uwag. This is my personal favorite shrine, and probably the one that I would live in myself. I like how the whole thing loops around, and these areas on top of the ladder are really cool. I've been hanging out there a lot. But for me, the end room is what really sells this one. I don't know why, but I find this hallway to the ending shrine really nice and elegant. Our silver medal goes to Sa Dahaj. Actually, I would probably live in this one. I like the last one more visually, but this one would be better to live in personally. I'd have the entrance be like kind of a mud room to clean yourself and put on a coat, leave a hat, that kind of thing, put a hat rack down. And then that would lead into the living room, which may be a little bit too big, but I'd rather it be too big than too small. And then up this ladder, honestly I'm not sure, maybe like an office. And then past that into the biggest part of the place, which could honestly be its own apartment. I would kind of treat it that way too. I think I would go for a half gym, half kitchen area, and throw my bed somewhere in there. Maybe by the end room. Speaking of which, I'd probably set the kitchen up on that side of the room too. And yes, all this fire and the leaves and all would be removed when you moved in. And for our golden number 1, we have Shea Mosa. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan, but I know that a lot of people would likely pick this one to live in. There is a ton of space here, but there's also enough walls all over it for it to not feel too empty, you know? Like, you ever been to a rich person's house and thought, there is so much space here, but it's like cold and like, if I lived here I'd always feel lonely. It gives off that kind of vibe. That's what this is. This would be the most expensive shrine to live in because it's got that kind of arrogant feel to it. Or it wouldn't be that expensive. I don't know what the housing market is like in Hyrule. But I think if you asked the majority of people in real life to rank these, I think this one would come up pretty high on a lot of people's lists. And here it is on mine. Alright, I won't lie, I wasn't a huge fan of these shrines compared to the tiers ones, and y'all will probably agree. But anyway, if you did like this video and would be interested in seeing more like it, or like these, make sure to subscribe, and if you're feeling generous, leave a like. At 10,000 likes, double my last video currently has, y'all are gonna get the next big video, and trust me, you'll like it. But in the meantime, I'll be putting out smaller but equally as fun videos. Mostly Zelda stuff, but I got some ideas for other stuff that if you're a well-rounded nerd, you'll appreciate. And I'll try to get them out in a more timely manner. But if you guys got any other ideas and you want me to hear them, let me know in the comments. I do read all of them. Yes, even still with all these new ones. And one very last thing is I'm using a new outro song called What's Your Name by Jakku. There'll be a link to all his stuff below, so make sure to check it out. But with that, I've got nothing else to say, so